Be careful. From what I've heard, you go outside, there's probably a good chance you're going to die. But I don't think so. My proposition is that the United States is overreacting to this coronavirus. The United States is a country that resides in the Northern Hemisphere, for the most part between Canada and Mexico. The coronavirus is a virus that has become widespread throughout the world quite recently, and overreacting is to respond in an unjustified or forcible manner due to an emotional response. The coronavirus is not as bad as it seems. There's been high survival rates, there's a manipulation of statistical counts and handling of the patients, and the real pain we're feeling is in the communities due to the lack of commerce. So my first point is that the media portraying this has been very wrong. Every day you'll see new cases, hit a new record, new cases. And sometimes they'll present the death rates, but they're focusing a lot on the new cases. Now, those death rates are very unfortunate because they are climbing, but in proportion to the amount of cases we have, in the US, it's 3.1 million cases and 133,000 deaths. That's a 4% death rate in the US. In the world, that's 4% as well. This is from the CDC and New York Times and the Johns Hopkins University team, the CSSE, that's been handling that. Now, if you want to look on a smaller scale, California, 2% death rate. Even smaller scale, Santa Barbara County, less than 1% death rate. It's like 0.07% of cases actually occur in deaths. Now, if you want to compare it to a different disease, also from the CDC, 640,000 people every year in the U.S. die from cardiovascular disease. Very unfortunate, yes, but in comparison to the coronavirus, you have a greater chance of dying of heart disease. And some people say, well, it's the people of higher age that are at greater risk of cardiovascular disease, like myocardial infarctions or atherosclerosis. But that's not the case. Very unfortunately, again, younger people, like young adults or even adolescents, are increasing in their risk of acquiring these heart failures. Now, my second point, given the acclaimed danger, society is essentially shut down. And I don't mean people going to the beach or going hiking. It's still quite prevalent right now. But like in California, Governor Newsom has shut down various establishments such as bars, salons, restaurants, gyms. Gyms are pretty good for public health, but due to the public safety, he's decided to shut those down, and I can understand it. Like, if you want to reduce the amount of cases, reduce the amount of deaths that will occur in the future, great. But due to that shutdown that's happened throughout the whole U.S., remember we had the 2 months of our stay-at-home order nationwide, 21% of people lost their jobs. Our whole U.S. workforce, 20% went, and now they're filing for unemployment. They got the stimulus checks. So all that government money, people are staying at home, and they can only spend it on certain things that support big corporations like grocery stores, Netflix, Hulu, other home entertainment, Uber Eats. Look at Jeff Bezos, owner of Amazon, and Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook. In conjunction, over those 2 months, they made $59.6 billion in worth. $59.6 billion. That is crazy. Now, it's good that the economy is still flourishing. People are spending a lot of money, but the threat that I see is that there's a great divide in the competition now between the smaller businesses that are dwindling, barely hanging on, have minimal workforce, and they're basically hardly sustaining themselves while these corporations are thriving. Now, on my third point, disease testing is not 100% accurate, and there's been some manipulation with how that testing has been taken statistically and the handling of the patients. So first off, I'll say other states, cities, hospitals, whatever it may be, they have different protocols for how they count a COVID death. Some places require a lab test definitively showing that they had COVID in their system and that they probably died from it. Now, a lot of those cases, some people could have it in their system, be asymptomatic, and die of cardiovascular failure. Now, they're still going to count that as a COVID death. And some places, they don't require a lab test to confirm that they had COVID. If they just exhibited the same symptoms, like let's say headache, fever, pneumonic symptoms like fluid in their lungs, they're going to count that as a COVID death. Now, in terms of manipulation of the handling of the patients, a lot of these patients have been moved into nursing homes, and it's actually caused a big lawsuit for liability against these nursing home management. Um, let's say over in LA Times, there was an article showing how COVID patients were labeled as cash cows because some people, let's say somebody had dementia, right, and they're staying in a nursing home, they would pull in maybe $200 a day for a person with dementia. But a COVID patient staying in that same nursing home will rack in upwards of $800. So they're making these facilities a lot of money, and they're just staying to mostly die because the death rates are statistically worse for people of higher age in the nursing homes. So yes, it is unfortunate. Yes, there's manipulation. And I do believe that the coronavirus is not that bad.